There's no doubt that Sonic 3 was the best movie in the Blue Hedgehog's franchise, at least so far, because we already know that Sonic 4 is in development.
Konnichiwa?
But did you notice that the ending left us with several unanswered questions that will probably only be addressed in the next movie? At the end of Sonic 3, we found out that Amy Rose is the next major character alongside Sonic in the upcoming movie. She showed up to save our hero from Metal Sonic's army, wielding her powerful Pico Pico hammer. But do you know which version of Amy Rose this actually is? It's actually pretty easy to figure out if you pay attention to how the whole battle unfolds. Look at how Metal Sonic appears in the scene. A few bolts of lightning flash out of nowhere, and a metallic figure emerges from the energy, kneeling before rising up near Sonic. Most people didn't catch it, but this scene is actually a reference to the Terminator movies, specifically when the T-800 is sent back in time. This is a huge clue that Metal Sonic actually came from the future to defeat the Hedgehog. Shortly after, Amy appears and saves Sonic. She knew the attack would happen right there and that Sonic would need help, meaning Amy Rose also came from the future. She's part of a group called the Resistance, fighting against the Robotnik Empire after Sonic's defeat. But here's the big question. If Eggman died in Sonic 3, then who is leading the Empire now? Mind-blowing, right? Imagine if Arnold Schwarzenegger voices Metal Sonic. That would be an insane surprise for Sonic 4, which is set to release on March 19th, 2027. Until then, get ready, because you're watching Cinewave. It's pretty obvious that the Robotnik family is tough as nails, and Eggman is the best example of that. He survived the destruction of his giant mech in Sonic 2 after all. At the end of Sonic 3, the villain actually saves the world by destroying the space colony Ark to prevent Earth from suffering a fate worse than what happened to the moon. This makes his return in Sonic 4 uncertain, especially with Jim Carrey announcing his retirement. We might never see Dr. Ivo Robotnik on the big screen again. But since Metal Sonic appeared, and we know Eggman created him, this could be a hint that Jim Carrey has already agreed to return for the next adventure. And as the name Robotnik Empire suggests, someone from the Robotnik family has to be in charge, right? Eggman's empire needs Eggman. It's that simple. And since Sonic 4 already has a confirmed release date, March 19th, 2027, it's safe to say the production is well underway. Maybe Metal Sonic managed to save his creator at the last second, or, as we mentioned with the Terminator reference, Metal Sonic could have traveled back in time to change the past and rescue his master. If Jim Carrey does return, we could theorize that Gerald Robotnik is still alive and might actually be the villain of Sonic 4. Why? It's simple. Eggman ended his last appearance by saving Earth and regretting his past crimes. Even if he somehow survived the Ark explosion, it's unlikely he'd still want to be a villain. But if there's one Robotnik family member who's alive, hates the entire world, and would stop at nothing for revenge, it's definitely Gerald, not Eggman. The Ark is powered by the Chaos Emerald and Shadow, and Gerald's supposed death scene could have actually been a way for him to absorb energy and gain new powers, just like Eggman did in Sonic 2. Could Maria Robotnik, Eggman's cousin and Gerald's granddaughter, still be alive? Most fans would say no, since in the original Sonic Adventure 2 game released in 2001, Maria didn't survive. However, the movies have already changed certain things, like Gerald's fate, so it's possible they could bring Maria back as well. In the film, we see her tragic accident caused by an explosion from a gun soldier. But did you notice that Gerald didn't share the same fate, even though he was there too? If Shadow, as an ultimate life form, managed to survive, then why couldn't Maria's grandfather? The movie never answers this. And if Maria were actually kept in a stasis tube, just like Shadow, Gunn could be secretly studying her. After all, Maria was born with a rare disease, and Gerald may have found a cure using the same ultimate life form research he got from Black Doom to create Shadow. Would you like a surprise visit from Black Doom? Comment #alien and let us know. In the original story, Shadow is an ultimate life form created by Gerald Robotnik with the help of Black Doom, the leader of the alien race known as the Black Arms. In the movie, we see Maria and Shadow watching an old film called Strange Alien, and from his reaction, it's clear that Shadow doesn't like being called an alien. One major question Sonic 4 needs to answer is Shadow's true origin, whether he really is an alien. Based on what we know, he crash-landed on Earth inside a meteor, meaning yes, Shadow is technically an extraterrestrial. But we still don't know exactly where he came from or whether he's connected to Black Doom. Maybe someone out there in the universe is looking for him. But who? Where does Shadow go in the post-credits scene? At the end of the last movie, we see that he's still alive and that he picks up one of the golden rings from the wreckage of the Ark Station. There's a theory that could explain exactly what's going on. Shadow might not even appear in Sonic 4 because he could be getting his own movie or even an original series. A lot of people don't know that Knuckles has a series covering his adventures between the end of Sonic 2 and the beginning of Sonic 3, and he's actually the one who hid the Chaos Emerald. Because of Amy Rose, there probably won't be enough time to tell Shadow's full origin story in Sonic 4. That's why we believe the Black Hedgehog will get a solo adventure where he meets an ally. This happens in Sonic Heroes, where Rouge the Bat, an agent, discovers that the anti-hero is still alive, and the two embark on an adventure involving Metal Sonic. Of course, there's also the possibility that this adventure will tie into Mephiles, who is set to be the villain of Sonic 5. Which games could be adapted in the next movie? Sonic 3 is adapting Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, but which games from the franchise could inspire this new adventure? The answer could very well be Sonic Generations, released in 2011. And why do we think that? We've already explained that the next movie will involve time travel and that Dr. Eggman Robotnik could return. Sonic Generations has one of the most incredible time travel stories, where levels from past games come back because the past and future collide. We'll explain how that could work later, so stick around. Another game that could be adapted is Sonic CD, where Amy Rose gets kidnapped by Metal Sonic. Another big question the next movie needs to answer is, where is the Biolizard? Not sure what that means? This creature is one of Gerald Robotnik's creations. And why is it so important? Simple, the Biolizard was Gerald's first attempt at creating the ultimate life form, but the experiment failed, and the creature became so powerful that it had to be sealed away. It's the final boss of Sonic Adventure 2, and we expected it to appear in the third movie, but that didn't happen. The Biolizard needs to show up in some way because of course Maria's grandfather built this insanely powerful beast. You know what would be even cooler than a giant space monster? Subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications! In a game called Sonic Colors, we're introduced to a planet called Wisp, home to little alien creatures of the same name, Wisps. These adorable little guys grant powers to their allies, and they matter because Sonic needs to explore more places in the universe and introduce more characters. If Shadow is technically an alien, then the Sonic universe needs to expand, bringing in new locations like Planet Wisp and its inhabitants, along with all their unique abilities. There's also the Chow Garden, which will need to be adapted at some point. The Sonic universe is huge, so even a Sonic 5 and Sonic 6 wouldn't be enough to cover everything. Remember when we talked about Sonic Generations and how it might be adapted into the next movie? That's going to happen because there's a creature behind all of it. His name is Time Eater, a monster that controls time and devours timelines. In Sonic Generations, the classic hedgehog unknowingly steps through a portal and ends up having to go through different levels from past Sonic games to fix the huge mess created by the Time Eater. And why is this a problem in the fourth movie? Simple! Time Eater is probably the reason Eggman has survived all of his accidents because in the future, Robotnik is the one controlling this monster to save himself. Could this be the answer? Sonic's family includes Longclaw, his guardian and mentor, Tom, who is like his father, Maddie, his human mother, and his best friends Tails and Knuckles. This family will probably grow with Shadow and Amy joining the group, but there's something that might actually happen. Maddie could be pregnant. Sonic might get a human baby brother, and we can actually prove it. During a scene where Tom and Maddie are at their house, the two are testing out bread recipes for a new business they want to start. Maybe you didn't notice, but this could be a reference to a little joke about baking bread and pregnancy. In many parts of the world, when a couple has a bun in the oven, it's a way of saying the woman is expecting a baby. Of course, Sonic 3 doesn't confirm any of this, but this could be the perfect excuse for the next movie to remove the human characters from the story. Sonic movie fans have never been too fond of regular humans taking up too much screen time. Of course, this is up for debate. Everyone has their own opinion, but it's definitely a problem that Paramount has to figure out. And if Maddie is pregnant, then she and Tom will have to take care of the baby, meaning they won't be able to get involved in dangerous situations anymore, making it easier to write them out of the next movie. Wow, there's really a lot to figure out, but don't worry, we'll get all the answers in 2027. Until then, you can stick with us. We've picked 2 more videos for you to enjoy. See you in the next one.